Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this webinar from Sangoma Technologies on how to work from home with Sangoma. My name's Simon Horton. I look after sales for Sangoma here in Europe. I'm based out of our UK office, which is the European headquarters. We are like 30 to 40 miles west of London, so just on the outskirts of London. I've also joined here by Shan Sood. Shan joined Sangoma maybe 1 month ago, and she is the marketing manager of Sangoma, responsible for all of our activities across Europe. So today we've got a reasonably short agenda. I'm expecting this webinar to last for between 20 and 30 minutes. We'll have some time for questions and answers at the end. But we're going to start off with a little education. There's 3 or 4 slides on just setting the groundwork about what is unified communication, so that everyone on the webinar knows. Then we'll 2 slides on Sangoma, just to introduce us as a company. Then the main part is how we enable remote working, especially in this COVID-19 crisis time where lots of people are working from home. A section on special promotions and a summary, and then the time for Q&A. So please, as we go through this, use the webinar toolbar to submit questions. We will get to as many of those questions as we can during the webinar at the end. Any that we don't answer or need a more complex answer, we'll be sure to get back to you personally via email or telephone call. And of course, we are recording this webinar, and we'll give a copy of the presentation and the recorded webinar to anybody that registered so that you can share it. So starting off with unified communications. So before UC, what companies did was ran a PBX, often, or PABX, as often it's called as well, which is a private branch exchange in their office. And the PBX really is designed to route calls between extensions on people's desks. It routes calls out to the inside network. Outside network, it takes calls in from that network and routes them to the right extension or receptionist. Obviously, you can do voicemails, transfers, 3-way calls. And then we have at the bottom there's a picture of a very old Nortel attendant console, which a receptionist would use to route calls around the office when they come into the main number. Fairly obviously, before unified comms, what all of these features have in common is they are all voice features. So that is the sum total of what a traditional PBX, private branch exchange, can do. It deals with voice. So with the pickup or take up of unified communications, UC or unified comms adds more than voice. It's generally available through an app on multiple devices. So you generally download an application or an app, and it works on your desktop, your laptop, your smartphone, tablets, everything. And it merges together more than voice. So it brings things like instant messaging, email, voicemail, voice and video calling, web conferencing, all to that single app. So instead of me picking up the phone and trying to call Shan and then finding out Shan is already engaged on another call, what I can do is see her presence, so I can see if she's available. If she's showing as available, I can send her a quick instant message and say, hey Shan, are you available for a call? She might come back and say, no, but in 5 minutes I am, or yes, I'm available. Then we would start a voice call, and then we might decide we want to do some screen sharing or file sharing, and we can do all of that from within one app. And that's really what unified comms is about. So it helps productivity because there's no time wasted of people trying to contact each other. Cost is another important one. One of the key elements of UC is it can be run as a software only service. So it can be an OPEX, not a CAPEX. So it can be paid for monthly instead of all up front. The performance, related to productivity, performance goes up, collaboration is easy and instant. And of course, it makes your employees as a business feel good. Using UC feels good. It feels very easy to be able to be in touch with someone, see their face on video conferencing, share files, and share screens. And that makes it feel good, especially in this time of crisis with Corona. one of the elements of UC that I really wanted to pick up on, and it's only a part of UC, is the softphone. So what a softphone does is bring your desktop phone with you wherever you are. So in our very simple picture here, we have an incoming call coming from a customer into your business. The UC software receives that incoming call, and then it simultaneously sends it to whichever devices are active for that user. So in this case, we see that the desk phone will start ringing, the employee's smartphone will start ringing, and their laptop and desktop, the application on the laptop will also light up. So that means all devices ring, and the user, the employee, can decide which device they want to answer that call on. So they don't need to be bound to their desk anymore. The user extension follows them wherever they are. And of course, this means that if you have an employee who has a smartphone, is often out on the road, you don't need to give customers the mobile number of that employee. The customer can simply dial the extension of the staff member, and that will route through to the app on his smartphone. He picks it up. The caller has no idea whether they've answered on their desk phone or their smartphone. They have no idea they're out and about. They have no idea what their mobile number is. So it can be, you can keep the personal and professional numbers completely separate on a smartphone. So it really is amazingly powerful for many, many different applications. So in terms of deploying UC, we need to remember that in the old days of the PBX, we used lots of different proprietary telecoms signaling schemes. You may have heard of ISDN or something like that. These days, voice and unified comms is just like any other internet protocol. So it's just like when you browse to a website using HTTP and you see a website. Voice now is just another one of those data protocols that you have to just route through a data connection. What that means is that your UC platform can be deployed anywhere. You can choose to deploy it in the cloud, just like most web servers are now in the cloud. They've moved from on-premise into a cloud, and the unified comms is the same, and it can be run on your own infrastructure. You can run it on hardware if you prefer to do that. You can run it on software. You can run it in virtual machine, either in your own private cloud or on a public cloud like AWS or Azure or something like that. So it really does become very flexible when you move away from that traditional PBX to a more unified comms platform. Okay, just a reminder, please do put your questions into the question box as we go through. I can see a couple coming, but I'm hoping for more so we can address them at the end. Okay, for those guys out there, you may not have heard Sangoma. I just want to kind of reassure you on this slide that Sangoma is a kind of, large, profitable, solid company. We're actually traded on the Toronto Venture Exchange, which is like the equivalent of AIM here in the UK. So we're a small cap business, but we're publicly traded. You go see our results for the last 20 years. We've been around for 35 years in total. We're about 300 staff members, about $150 million of revenue. This slide is a little bit out of date. As I said, I sit here in Wokingham in the UK. Our global headquarters is in Toronto. And we have staff in 20 or more countries around the world. Here in Europe, we have, I think, 12 staff members. I have a few sales directors running around in each region, selling to you guys out there. So we're a large, solid company with very little debt. We'll certainly be around for a few decades to come, I hope. In terms of Sangoma's kind of position in the market, I like to say that we are high quality but medium price, which is why you see those sort of weighing scales on the right hand side. So we see ourselves as having feature parity with the big vendors out there such as Cisco and Avaya, but we like to price ourselves a little bit less than that, not at the very bottom to compete with some of the cheaper Chinese brands, but we like to we like to position ourselves with an eye on value, but with a very high quality feature set. So we're looking for enterprise features at affordable prices. As I said, we're growing, we're financially stable, we're innovative, we have lots of exciting stuff in our roadmap, and of course we have a 24/7 global support team. I should mention those guys. We have that support team based here in Europe, as well as our other 2 locations in India and US. So you can always engage our support and our professional services team. So let us look at how we can enable remote working. So there are 3 main ways that we think we can help during this COVID-19 crisis. First one is we can deploy software-based PBXs. So traditionally, your PBX was a lump of metal that sat in the corner of your office or in the corner of the comms room. There's no need to have that hardware anymore. We can deliver a pure software-based PBX, and as I said, that could be in the cloud or on a VM server in your own office. What that means is that there's no need for deliveries, no need for on-site work, and we can deploy that as a managed service, managed by Sangoma, or we can deploy it through our set of partners, or even by yourself, the end user. So that's the first thing to note. There's no need for on-site premise, no need to not comply with the social distancing rules we have here in Europe. The second part is our UC, our Unified Client application. It's called Zulu. It's built and designed purely by Sangoma, and as the name implies, it's a softphone, which we talked about, but it's also has all of those collaboration tools we mentioned earlier. So it can do presence and instant messaging and screen sharing and all that good stuff. So you can easily enable remote workers to have access to their desk phone extensions on their smartphone and on their laptop, desktop, just as if they're in the office. The final part, which is a little bit more specialized, is our call center functionality. So we can operate small to medium-sized call centers directly on our UC platform. So what that means is if you have, I don't know, 20 or so call agents on your call center, you can send them home, they can work from home, they can have all of the same access to the same agent functions like they would if they were in the office, and we'll talk about this in a little while. So really, it's about enabling no loss of functionality through having more people working remotely than working inside an office. So our UC platform, the name we give our Unified Communications platform is PBXact. This is a relatively technical slide. I really just wanted to touch on the facts that it's very easy to integrate PBXact with other business systems. So for instance, you can use our SIP trunking service if you need to route calls in and out, voice calls. But in addition, you can integrate with business systems like Sugar, CRM, Salesforce, and the use case here is customer phones in, and you can use their calling line identity, the number they're calling from, to do a lookup in a database, for instance, in Salesforce, and then you might be able to see all of their previous purchase histories, or you could pop up on the user agent, you could pop up the websites they've been looking at on your web page, so you can really just get context for the call that might be coming in, and your agents can easily see and easily help the caller. In addition, we have a portal which you can use for licensing and support and manage your phones and your endpoints. If you do have that call center requirement, we have options that can make that even more powerful. We have options for the hospitality industry, and we can, of course, run in high availability, so you can pair 2 units together for disaster recovery. To be absolutely crystal clear on the PBXact lineup, in the context of this call, there are 3 options. On the left-hand side, you can buy PBXact pre-installed on specially designed Sangoma hardware. Again, this small unit you see there is up to 40 users or 25 calls. There are annual support and maintenance options available for that hardware, of course. The next, the center segment is PBXact in software. And this is the one we're more interested in for the context of working from home and not having to visit site. So this is a software only version, and you take that and you install it on a virtual machine in a data center or in your own environment or in Azure or AWS. You can also, if you need to, install it on your own hardware, or you can install, and you need annual support and maintenance. The PBXact Cloud is the part we talked about, which is a purely managed service. So this is where we are running the PBX in our cloud. You pay per extension per month for this, and it is support maintenance included. You can buy it for a 1 year, 3 year, or month-to-month contract. We also include a bundle of minutes to UK numbers. It's a UK service, and optionally you can rent phones from us. So 3 options: hardware, software for you guys to install or your partner to install, and then a fully managed service. The nice thing about this is it's the same software base across all 3 options. So if you understand one of those, you've installed it on hardware, you can easily install it or use it in the cloud. It's the same feature set. So that was, if you remember, the first segment was the software-based PBX. The second part of our offering for working from home is our UC application, and this is called Zulu. So Zulu is an app you can download to a Windows device on a PC or laptop. You can download it on on Mac for your laptop or desktop. You can download it on iOS for your Apple phone, or you can download it on the Play Store for your Android phone. It uses a protocol called WebRTC, which is quite popular these days. It allows us to be more than just a dumb soft phone. So we don't just use voice, we add in all those UC features we talked about earlier, such as chat, instant messenger. That means you can see the presence of everybody else it's also located on the same PBXact. You obviously can make phone calls internally within the business and externally to the network. You can share screens. You can send and receive faxes. You can see all the contacts that you have enabled, and you can share files as well. So it really does add that whole UC part, or the UC features which enable the productivity. Okay, the next one. This is super duper exciting. We have something called Sangoma Meet coming alive. This is our video conferencing service. And I think you guys on this webinar are the first people outside Sangoma to know this is coming. So this is super duper exciting. This is brand new. And what we're offering is a video conferencing service where up to 50 people can join a single video conference. And you can see the picture in the bottom right there. You get everybody's face. You can tile. You can pick individual people to look at. And the reason we've done this is really as a reaction to the whole Corona crisis. We want to try and give something back to the community. It's completely open. You can, you can use this with your colleagues, with your friends, with your family. It's super easy to use as well. I even, as part of the test, I managed to get my 76-year-old father to run this at home on his laptop so that he could talk to my kids, the grandkids and grandparents could talk together. He downloaded it. It runs, he uses WebRTC, so it runs in any compatible browser. He used Chrome. he talked to his grandkids. It was all very successful. So if he can use it, I'm kind of assuming anybody can. So very, very good. You can chat in there. You can share phone numbers in case you maybe don't have the bandwidth to talk to someone, so you can get somebody in there on an audio only call if they can't share video because they have no bandwidth or something. You can share screens in there. It really is super duper powerful. It's very secure, so it runs in the web browser. As I said, you can, passwords are created for every meeting, so it's really super cool. And as I said, we're trying to enable home working and enable to give something back. It's kind of an ongoing project. We are looking to develop an app for iOS and Android phones, so that we have a little bit more control over the video and can make the experience just that little bit better. But it works today. I've used it with my family. I've used it for probably 10 meetings with the sales team, so it works and it's rock solid. So this is super exciting. First time we've talked about this outside internal meetings, so all good. The final part, that was a little aside actually on Sangoma Meet. The final part, if you remember, of our slides was the call center. So basic call center features are enabled in PBXact in the cost price. There's no extra cost here. And as I said, what this means is you can deploy your call center staff anywhere, at home, wherever they might be, with no loss of functionality. So, that call distribution, the time conditions, the queue priorities for your customers, this stuff all just works perfectly. It's really designed for small to medium call centers. We have some simple outbound dialing as well for calls out to your customer base. And as I said, CRM integration like Salesforce and Zoho's also included. So finally, on this kind of product section, if you do want to use Sangoma phones, they are still available. I think most of our partners around Europe are still shipping these hard phones. Perhaps you have users that are working from home that would still prefer to use a hard phone, or there's some process in your company that means hard phones, these desktop phones are required. The phones are manufactured by Sangoma. They're designed to work out of the box with PBXact. We have something called auto provisioning, which means that the phones always find their way to the PBX to work immediately out of the box. So these are plug and play, no need for site visits, no need for people to go and install the phones. Our S-series phones in particular have this VPN client built into them. So just like any other VPN, if you're familiar with that technology, it sets up sort of a tunnel between the phone and the PBX, and that means it can traverse firewalls. So sometimes firewalls can interfere with voice over IP and give problems like one-way audio or no ringing. But so the VPN client works around this. We also have another range of phone called the D-series phones. These are very cool as well. Sort of a slightly different design, different market. And then finally, we have our decked phones if you need a wireless phone. So the special offers and the summary here. So we're trying to support our customer base. So we've seen that other vendors, other phone manufacturers in particular, have increased their prices during this Corona crisis. We're doing the opposite. We want to make sure that we enable our customer base to work from home and work remotely effectively. So what we're offering to anybody on the webinar today is a free S505. So that's our kind of medium grade phone, medium executive grade phone. We're offering a free one of those with every PBXact system that's purchased, and we've got a little code there which will work right up until the end of June, I think. So please take advantage of that to get a free phone, even if you don't need that phone because you have work from home. Maybe you'll use it back in the office and you'll realize how full featured and easy it is to work with. Of course, remember Sangoma Meet, it's free of charge, right? So we're launching it. It will be completely free of charge. So you can use this with friends, with family, not just in an office context. Yep. So remember, Sangoma Meet, it can be used by anybody. It's not bound. Actually, it's not even bound to PBXact. So you don't have to be a Sangoma customer. It's freely available to anybody to use. And finally, talk to our partners for some other great pricing offers, not just to you guys, the end users, but we have some other preferential pricing to our channel base as well. So I think I'm bang on time. We're just coming up to past. So I'd like to just summarize now. So we talked at the very beginning, unified comms adds flexibility, enables your staff to work from home, adds productivity. You know, features like presence and screen sharing are incredibly useful. You know, even at 9 o'clock this morning, Shan, the marketing manager, and myself were using our tools to, go over this webinar one final time and check that everything was okay. And we were using screen sharing and drawing on each other's screens to get our message across. It does make it so easy when you're not working in the same office. Remember, with a soft phone, you can kind of hide your employee mobile numbers from your customers, so they will pick up the phone using the app, not using their mobile, not using the native mobile dialer on their smartphone. Sangoma Meet is coming to enable secure multi-user video conferencing, so we're super excited by that. And of course, it comes at no cost and is available for anybody to use on any WebRTC browser like Chrome, for instance. And then really, Sangoma, we are a single vendor company. We make everything from desk phones through to connectivity. The Zulu tools, the unified communications clients available at no extra cost. So once you bought PBXact, you can enable all of your staff to use Zulu. And similarly, if you want that contact center functionality, if you're running a small, contact center, or you have many inbound calls, then that's also included at no cost. So thank you, everyone. It's great that so many of you kind of showed up to this. Super exciting to share with you Sangoma Meet and the other elements of how we're helping companies to work through this kind of difficult time where we're all working from home and kind of cut off to some extent from our colleagues. So let's have a look at Q&A. So the first one here, do you need to have desktop phones to be able to use the soft phone clients? So great question. So no, we have deployments today where there are no desk phones, there are no hard phones. It's purely PBXact with Zulu. So Zulu is the only endpoints attached to the system. Everybody just uses their laptop or mobile to initiate and receive calls. So nope, you can use PBXact purely with the Zulu client. Do you need to register to use Sangoma Meet? Nope. You when we're ready, we'll give you guys the URL, and you browse that URL, you create a meeting, you get a password, you share the meeting URL with your, the people you want to invite, and you share the password, and away you go. One of the other cool things is it's all browser based, so we store no details, so we don't know who's used it. Obviously we can see the loading, so we can make sure we have the right resources available, but we don't know who's used it. We don't store any details about you, so it's really very, very secure. Wow, lots of questions about Sangoma Meet. I think that's touched a really good nerve with you guys. The next question, will Sangoma Meet be available also for Zulu users on free PBX? So we have another product line we didn't talk about today called free PBX. So yes, it will be. Remember that right now, Sangoma Meet is a standalone video conferencing product. So you can use it outside of Zulu, outside of free PBX or PBXact, and you don't even need to be a Sangoma customer. And it will be freely available for everybody to use to keep in touch through these kind of uncertain times. Does Sangoma Meet work with hardware clients like Lifesize? Good question. So Right now, I think not. Right now, it only works with through a browser. I'm not aware that it will work with life size. That may be something we can look at in the future, but our immediate task is to come up with iOS and Android clients to for smartphone use. Sangoma Meet, when will it be available? We're on the very final stages of testing. We were hoping it was going to be out and we could share with you guys the URL today. It's not quite ready yet. It's very imminent. I'm hoping it will be available very soon. We're trying to get this out to almost kind of immediately, but we'll keep you informed. Does Sangoma Meet run on PBXact? I think we answered that. It's standalone from PBXact, so no need for extra licenses. It's just available in the cloud. Okay, there's one question here which is quite complex. I'm going to skip that one from Fabio. Fabio, I'll come back to you separately on that because I don't think we need to talk about that. It's very detailed. Sangoma Meet isn't on premise, but sort of free software as a service. Yes, that's right. It's available freely. And I think the last one here, when will more information be available for Sangoma Meet? As I said, it's imminent, literally days away. We should have more information. And I think that one is it for now. So I think that just leaves me to say thank you everybody for attending. Thanks for all the questions, guys. I hope you found it useful. Stay in touch with myself or Shan or anybody else from Sangoma. We will be in touch with you all very soon, and we will provide a recording and the slides for this webinar. So thanks for taking the time, guys. Have a great day, and we'll speak very soon. Bye now.